Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone, to Crüe Roundtable. How you fellas doing today?
I'm a little tired.
I'm here.
A little late on the uptake there. Week 2. Do we need to recap what happened week 1? Everyone whose team won, raise your hand. Oh, look at that. The guys in the bottom are on the bottom. It's almost like I
There's a reason why they're on the bottom.
So, any big games going this week?
Sure.
I'm still trying to dry out the jerseys for the game, you know. He's still a little wet.
From tears or from rain?
That game was ridiculous. I've never seen it rain that hard during a football game.
You say you're trying to dry out. I thought you were talking about your liver.
Yeah,
pretty ugly.
Yeah, we'll see at the end of the season who's laughing.
So, Andy, do you think Justin Fields is fully matured yet, or you think he's still coming into his own?
Well, if he's doing as well as he's doing now, and being even 50% of mature, immature, whatever you want to call it, then yeah, I think by the time he is, full grown, I don't want to say adult, but when he's got big boy pants on, yeah, I think he's probably going to be a really, really good player. And we'll definitely find out tonight. I mean, with tonight's game versus, of course, the Packers, it's one of those things where you're kind of like getting into a perfect storm. You got the Packers who are still trying to find themselves, not quite what they normally are, and then, of course, you got the upstart, cocky Bears coming in. So it's a perfect storm for the Bears to come in with sneak out a victory by 60.
Jerry, who you guys got today? I mean,
we're going to play the Seagulls.
Yeah. Now that's at San Francisco, right? You're at the Lee Jean Stadium.
Yeah, Levi's Stadium.
Montgomery Ward special.
Sponsored by Aaron Rodgers.
Venture.
Venture.
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I got it. Woolworth.
So with excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble breathing. So with Trey Lance playing okay last week, is Jimmy actually ready to play if needed, or is he still nursing?
I think he'd be fine, ready to go. I mean, he's cleared to do everything. He's been practicing by himself for a while now, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But like you said, I don't think we'll see Jimmy G anytime soon, unless there's an injury.
Speaking of injuries, did you guys see the litany of injuries the Bucs have going into this game against not their rival, but a strong division opponent? I mean, they're looking at 2 pages of injuries. Godwin's definitely out, but we'll get into all that later. It's going to be a rough go for Tampa, I think, in New Orleans. But let's start the show off with the North, shall we? Brian, I just want to know how they got that meme of you to go up in the corner of that video.
Was the Packers song recorded on a flip phone?
Dude, that Packers song is from 1930 something. It's actually a commercial that they were using to promote the Packers.
That's what it's recorded. Like, my
I have an
God.
overwhelming desire to eat cheese and sausage for some reason. I don't know why.
I was actually polka dancing here off screen. So
That's the
Oh,
second
man.
ugliest thing I would have seen today.
I don't believe it. You would be out of breath.
I am out of breath.
Andy,
guys,
it's
take it away.
cheese week, man.
It is. It beat the Packers week. So yeah, again, I think
You said Packers, right?
Yes, Packers.
I just want to make sure there wasn't a misplaced E.
Beat the Packers. I don't get it.
The Peccarizzi?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's French. It might be a different type of cheese.
Anyway.
But if Eberflus wanted to save his job, the only thing he has to do is beat one team twice a year. Guess who that is?
Dallas Cowboys?
The Lions.
3 teams. 4 teams. The Dallas Cowboys are kind of funny because they're, of course, in influx. Their quarterback is down, and their ownership, management, offensive lines, offense, defense, and special teams are all horrid. So they just have 1 or 2 problems. San Francisco, same thing. Their quarterback is just absolutely bloody atrocious. Their offense is horrible. Defense is suspect at best. Special teams, yeah, special, all right. And then we get to the Packers. You combine those things I just said about the other 2 teams, and that's the Packers, all in one person. Aaron. The hate is real because of the fact that over the last few years, we'll say, Aaron Rodgers actually had some success versus the Bears, and hopefully it'll all change tonight. With a 74-point blasting, it'll probably be 74-0 in the first half.
Have they changed that signage outside Soldier Field to say Rogers Field? Because, Rogers owns them, right?
I think that's why they're moving.
Well,
They broke the lease. They're moving to Arlington. Aaron's going to rent that to someone else this year.
Okay.
He does look like an old woman, so.
Let's talk football.
Let's do it.
No, that's secondary at this point. Now it's just bashing the Packers. So if we want to start with the Bears real quick, they have a few transactions that are going on, and then unfortunately a few little bumps and bruises. We'll get to that later. So if you want to go back from, we'll just say the 14th. Unfortunately, they placed offensive line Alex Leatherwood on reserve non-football illness list. He did have a bit of an issue. I don't know if he's just going to not have surgery or whatever the case is, but with that particular type of injury, break, whichever the case is. They also signed offensive lineman Michael Schofield III, I guess, to replace potentially Alex Leatherwood in those 3rd and 4th down type of situations. And they flexed offensive lineman Dieter Eilson to active roster, which is actually kind of odd because he definitely sounds like German, which screams Packers to me. So,
your Leatherwood injury almost sounds like something you would get in the nursing home.
Leatherwood.
I could have let it. I'm sorry. Some people have maturity, and then there's me.
I'm not saying that's the most horrendous thing I've ever heard. I'm just saying I understand. Anything new on the Packers side? Okay, let's move on. So,
now on the Packers side, it's going to be interesting to see of the big 4 who are on the injury list, and as of right now, Alan Lazard will play, even though with the ankle injury, he did not play week 1. It looks like John Runyon, the guard, he's out of concussion protocol, so he will play tonight. Elton Jenkins, the guard, it was full participation on Friday with no setbacks, so it looks like he's set to make his season debut. But the big question mark is at the big tackle at David Bakhtiari. And even though they said that he did practice on Friday, it was on a limited basis. LaFleur said that he met the plan that they had for him. What that means, I have no idea. a few people that I follow on Twitter that are beat writers in Green Bay, they don't think Bakhtiari is going to play this game. I think they want to try to get him through week 3 to see how he goes and then make a decision based upon his health in week 4.
At this point, they might as well just put him on like a retirement plan.
I mean, Packer fans, and I'm reading some of the blogs and stuff like there's a lot of Packer fans that are basically giving up on having him as a member of this ball club because of the fact that he can't get on the field. It's been over a year.
19 games right now, right?
Yeah.
If he doesn't play today, 19 games that he's missed in succession.
So question: if he does in fact retire from the Packers, you might end up getting like a severance or whatever the case is, but you also get like a big wheel of cheese.
Well, he chugs beer, so
he actually gets a wheel of Bakhtiari. Doesn't that sound like a cheese?
But if you look at what happened last week against Minnesota, it wasn't just the offense breakdown with the offensive line. Their defense was horrible. And that's the biggest question coming out this week. Did Joe Barry fix the defense this week in terms of coverage? Because as you saw, they couldn't cover Justin Jefferson worth anything. He went off.
He goes off on a lot of teams, though. It's not unheard of.
They did not use Jair Alexander to shadow him, even though they paid this guy the contract extension, gave him a big signing bonus. He's supposed to be your lockdown guy. You're supposed to shadow their best receiver. What'd they do? No, we're just going to play zone. So it's just
just how well. No, didn't mean to interrupt you, but you know how well zone actually works with a quarterback who's a little bit more fleet of foot, and then can scramble and find the potential for an open Mooney or whoever the case is right down the field. So it might, like I said, it might be like a perfect storm for the Bears to come in and actually do quite well against the Packers with those defensive struggles.
I agree. I totally agree. I think this is the right game for the Bears to come in and take them out. Basically, it's a big game for both teams. If the Packers start 0-2, you're looking at a situation to where everyone's going to be uneasy. You're looking at a big deficit already in the North, and you've already lost to Minnesota. So
right. You lose to both Minnesota and the Bears.
Right.
You'd be 2.5 games back of both teams. Right off the jump because they'd own the tiebreaker.
Right. Well, yeah, that's that part of the point. But if you actually do start 0-2, when is the opportunity to be able to pull the quarterback and put in a good quarterback? Because he's going to start throwing a tantrum and but then that'll hopefully light a fire in everybody's rear to be able to kind of sort of do like they did. Was it last year before when they started off losing like 33-3 or something?
Yeah, that was against the Saints. Yeah. Well, see, and you got to look ahead too because it doesn't get any easier. They play Tampa next week.
Yeah.
In Tampa, where Rodgers has not won.
In the humidity.
Yep. You could be easily looking at 0-3 to start the season, and if you look at percentages, not many teams make the playoffs starting 0-3.
To be fair. They are playing the Bears, right? And I'm not saying the Bears aren't a good team, but they are playing the Bears. They're a young team. And going into Lambeau Field, I don't care who you are. That's a big deal. You're going to feel the aura of the stadium. Yeah, but
they're young, but they're confident. They're coming off – they have yet to be beaten. And it's going to be one of those things where, sometimes you can just be lucky – other than good, and that's sometimes how it is. But think about it like this. Some of them are so young, they don't fully appreciate that mystique, and they're like, okay, Aaron who? Okay.
A lot of those kids on that team only know Aaron Rodgers from his Hanes Herways commercials. But
that's true.
You got to realize, being totally unbiased on this game, you got the Packers defense that isn't really comfortable playing man coverage, it looks like. You have one corner that's solid, but the rest, it's kind of suspect. So you go zone. Now you're going zone against a mobile quarterback. You're not going to blitz a lot because he's a mobile quarterback. So then you're kind of having to have Justin Fields make decisions that he hasn't had to make yet, right? Because he was flush from the pocket a lot last week. The rain helped the Bears a lot last week. Not that I'm supporting the Niners because Niners suck. But anyway.
Is there biblical rains in the forecast again?
The rain honestly helped the Bears. One, because
I'll look that up.
what's that? Oh, the weather forecast.
Yeah,
The Bears honestly didn't really start winning until Justin Fields started playing sandlot football. You'd see him scramble out of the pocket and he would go, and then let her fly. A couple of his passes were so underthrown that the defensive back had already jumped the route that it was supposed to be, and the pass was underthrown. So
that might be the best comment we've ever had on the show.
Oh, Andrew, can't you
Cool
wait till
words.
it's my turn?
True words are never spoken.
No rain in the forecast tonight. If it rains early.
Well, then Bears lose.
Well, it is a night game, so the old Packers might be asleep by then. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think this game is going to either make Justin Fields make decisions and the Bears win because he's good at it, or they make Justin Fields make decisions and he turns the ball over. Because Packers win on turnovers today. They don't win outright offense.
Yeah, but and like I said, you do have Justin Fields with some experience, playing the Packers and stuff like that. But you got to think that, and this is probably a good day for a quarterback, where you have that short-term memory. Of course, it also might be some head injuries, but anyway, short-term memory. You might have thrown an interception in the past. You might have actually fumbled the ball. You might have actually done all that's. It's a new day, so there's a strong possibility that I think the Bears are going to go into Lambeau and actually score, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be like a 21-10, routing or anything like that. 21-17, 28-21, 20-23, whatever the case is. It's going to be a relatively close game, but I think the Bears are going to end up out on top. Plus, you also have the fact that their head coach had some association with that team in the past anyway, so,
And that's a good point, actually.
It really is.
So we can put.
You do have some what he's going to throw in what particular situation.
So which way are you guys leaning? I mean, Andy, you've been completely unbiased in your assessment of the game. So I can only ask, I mean, are you giving the Bears a fair shot at winning this?
I think even Packer backer here is probably saying that the Bears are probably going to end up walking away with this one.
That's very tough for me to say, but I am nervously saying we'll pull this game out. But the thing is, defensively, we've got to be better, and Christian Watson needs to learn how to catch a ball that was literally dropped in his hands.
A couple times. They've had a couple of drop passes. So any other games going on in the North, or are we just going to sit here for another 30 minutes and talk Packers-Bears?
There's nothing else, period. But I just want to get to this this little Bears winning in Lambeau as their Super Bowl. The only thing that's going to be the Bears Super Bowl this year is the Super Bowl at the end of the year.
Well, you already won the preseason Lombardi, so let's not get greedy.
Hey, did you order your ring?
Yeah, why? It's actually, the preseason champions. It's actually the Lombardi.
All right. So,
I guess Detroit and the Vikings are playing.
I was going to say, let's dive into the Commanders-Lions real quick.
Crickets.
Crickets, exactly.
The Commanders come into Detroit. I mean, no Chase Young, right?
There's going to be a fight after the game, too?
So what'll end up happening is Detroit's probably going to end up being the Commanders because you're like, okay, the who, the what, the where, the when. But Detroit is sneakily a decent team. And that's going to be kind of a scary thought here because you still have who's the quarterback for Washington?
Carson Wentz went off.
Yeah, he had a great game.
He exploded week 1.
Yeah, but there's always a yeah, but or however, or are you insane? He's getting to that age right now where you might not be able to have. Well, I mean, you know that you can ask the missus, but you can't have sustained success. I guess you could say.
Wow.
So you might actually do well one week. The next week, you're going to fall flat.
So
Somewhat placid in your approach to the
One
to the
game,
overall.
Andy's up on a high horse all show.
If the Bears win this week, holy crap! You think I'm an animal now?
I won't
gonna
be on
double-
the show next week.
He's going to double up on his super beta prostate in his blue.
I'm not touching this Commanders-Lions game just because I'm not sure who the Commanders are, and I think we know who the Lions are. If they win, it's going to be based off of defensive performance. I don't think Jared Goff really wows anybody.
Well, look at how they played Philadelphia last week, though. I mean, they
In the third and
got
fourth
down
quarter.
big and they came back. And the thing is, they play tough. That's a Dan Campbell coach team.
Yeah, but
So-
they're not the new kids on the block. They can't make a season out of hanging tough. Did I do there? But seriously,
They need to
seriously.
find some of the fans that were throwing punches outside.
The guy
That's
dancing afterwards. With the ice.
So-
On that, I'm sorry.
But you don't know who the Commanders are. You don't know who the Lions are. They're still both trying to find their way. I wouldn't touch this game if you paid me, and I'm not touching it in pick 6 later. So let's gloss over that, if you will, and let's talk about the Vikings-Eagles, which should be a better game.
I'm sorry, but I just have to make mention of the fact that you actually did a New Kids on the Block reference, and it actually kind of worked.
You know,
Kinda.
I work stuff in.
You look like one of the second or third cousins of one of the Wahlbergs with the hair.
Anyway, you look like never mind.
Yeah, but with the Vikings, I think the Vikings actually showed you the team that they could be last week. You had their quarterback, that one guy, old Mr. Cousins there, who is actually kind of odd. Next.
So
And it was actually kind of odd because of the fact that he looked like a quarterback from like 5 years ago. He was relatively mobile. He was on target, quick decisions. I mean, he was looking kind of like weird because he looked good.
the Minnesota Vikings win the North this year.
And there you lost me.
If they come out this week and win, and the Bears somehow miraculously pull a rabbit out of a hat and beat the Packers, like we said earlier, that's 2.5 games that the Packers got to make up right off the jump.
Mm-hmm.
You're making it out the way that the Bears don't necessarily have an overall chance, where the Packers are actually really kind of sucking right now. So
I'm not saying
the surprised if the Bears didn't win.
I'm not saying the Bears aren't going to win. I'm saying I didn't pick them in pick 6.
It's almost like Tom Brady and Giselle. Sooner or later, one of them's going to end up winning, but you can only hold off the other team for so long.
It's as long as it's the Bucs, I don't care.
Yeah, you're right. They're going to lose. He's going to retire.
Well,
He's absolutely
Now,
going to retire. He has to.
The only thing on this Vikings-Eagles game is Minnesota's 2 corners, Patrick Peterson and Andrew Booth, may not be playing.
yeah, they're both questionable.
Well, one's already been ruled out.
Oh, I thought they were both questionable.
No,
Who's
Booth,
out? Is it
Andrew
Peterson?
Booth is out.
Oh. So now you're looking at Dalvin Cook running all over the Eagles. You still got to stop the run game. They run probably one of the best play action pass offenses in the league right now. Kirk Cousins doesn't make mistakes that kill you. It's a recipe for success. I mean, the Eagles are they're the Eagles. Let's be honest.
Did you mention Patrick Peterson?
It
Yes.
is.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like it looks like he still might be playing. The only person that looks like is going to be out is going to be Booth, cornerback.
Yeah.
With a quad, so it looks like Patrick Peterson may be playing, which is going to be a plus for sure. But if he's even 75%, then that could be an issue for the secondary for sure.
Who do you fear on the Eagles receiving core?
The Eagles receiving core?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my point.
Crickets.
I got
know
Minnesota
they have
here.
receivers.
But any other interesting tidbits of information we need to go on before we pass on to the NFC West?
Did I tell you about this one time that the Bears? No, go ahead.
Oh, Jesus.
Get up. Jerry.
All right, now to where they play real football. All right.
No, last week.
What?
Who said that?
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody's lips move. I don't know. No idea who said that.
I'll take credit for it.
Who you got, Jer?
Yeah, so after a very, very disappointing and frustrating loss last week, 49ers are going to take on the Seagulls, as my son calls them, in San Francisco, which I don't think that game's going to be very close. I think it's going to be a bounce-back week for San Francisco, and you're going to see the true potential of that team. There was glimpses of it against Chicago where you would see the offense have a spark and they could be very explosive, but that weather was ridiculous. Did you guys see the video of the guy eating his popcorn with the drain pipe just on top of his head? He's just like, yep, this is just watching the game.
Good pop. Yeah, but that was the quarterback.
So we have nothing good to say about the Niners, so we're going to talk about the guy eating popcorn.
No, we were talking about the video of the fight
Yeah. A serious question, though. Why abandon the run?
I don't know. I was thinking the same thing. That was very frustrating. I mean, yes, Mitchell left the game hurt and he's out, but it's always been running back by committee. I don't know why they abandoned it and tried to do this passing thing all the time. I mean, even they would hand the ball to Debo and he would run for 20 yards. And then they would be like, oh, hey, now we got to pass. I don't know. I don't know if there's hesitation on play calling with Lance or what. I mean, the announcers during the game even said that they could tell that he was being a little bit more reserved in his play calling, Shanahan. And, I don't know if he went into damage control and just wanted to avoid injuries, with big pile-ups in the mud, and who knows.
You were in the game. How do you go damage control when you're in the game? That doesn't make sense to me. Every game in the NFL is important. It's not like you don't even have to win big. You just have to win. So It's not like college football where you get style points.
Well,
Put your hand in the dirt and push them down the field.
I mean, they had the game until the late touchdown, and then the floodgates opened up, and it was
Literally.
It was too late, and you couldn't do anything then.
I think I saw Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean,
Not the players.
It was ridiculous.
Like Flipper.
The refs were struggling to even spot the ball. It was that bad.
It honestly looked like the Niners were struggling to spot the ball because those passes were so poorly underthrown, and the Niners player was like 15 yards further than the receiver.
Yeah, I can't even imagine trying to play in that. That was insane. But anyway, so they're going to be taking on the Seagulls this week, who are coming off their big upset win over the Broncos, ruining Russell Wilson's comeback, which was very funny to watch him get booed as he came onto the field. I don't understand that either as a Seahawks fan. How do you boo the guy that basically is the face of your franchise and your own franchise couldn't strike a deal with him? Like, why are you booing him?
That was interesting.
They'd rather keep the retired geriatric coach cheater instead of get rid of him and keep the quarterback. So
it's how do you like? Let's look at Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield went to Cleveland and lost as well, and it's not like going home is always a good thing.
yeah,
You know what I mean? There had to have been a lot of pressure on him to perform well.
oh,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. But I mean, and then it just gives the other team motivation to be all hyped
Right.
up and win. But I don't think Seattle is that great. That game was really sloppy.
Are you writing off Geno Smith?
Geno Smith, man, 8 years since his last start.
Dude, everybody's written off Geno Smith.
Yeah, I don't.
Did he write back? No, he didn't. Was that the dumbest quote you've seen this weekend? That was awful.
Yeah.
He was thinking of that for a while. Like he was like, what can I say that's really quiche? What's going to get me some recognition? Everyone wrote me off. I don't write back.
Nailed
I'm
it.
like hanging tough.
Wait. Hold on. He could go step by step. He can be, I guess, please don't go, girl.
I don't know, Andy. I'm not a big New Kids fan. I just knew hanging tough.
I'm
Sorry, buddy.
I'm looking at the, my personal collection. But anyway. No, I think if you're looking at like Russell Wilson actually going in and unfortunately, for the most part, fumbling, there's what 4 gajillion reasons why he should not have. But it's also one of those things where I think Geno Smith is kind of like that unknown, almost like that unknown entity that actually can come in and actually give you something that only Geno Smith can do. Slight mobility, slight accuracy. You know, his even his arm strength is kind of a little bit, not where it used to be.
It
But
wasn't
again, he's
spectacular
not
before.
the kind of game manager that you have in Kirk Cousins kind of a thing. But he for the most part doesn't have any major mistakes that's going to actually lose you the game.
So
I just don't see. I don't see that game being close. I think it's going to be a statement game for the Niners to show that last week was a rain out.
Well, their defense, Seattle's defense is actually, in particular, their front 4 or 5, whatever the case is going to have a problem with that San Francisco offensive line. And if you stay with that running game, then yeah, you're looking at 200 yards rushing and at least 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, San Francisco's defense. Their defense is ridiculous. I mean, obviously you couldn't see it last week because you couldn't see through the rain, but they should be dominant today. Couple turnovers, a lot of big sacks. So that's what I see in the game. The whole Trey Lance, Jimmy G thing that we talked about earlier, I don't see Jimmy G playing unless there's an injury. Like you said, Mike.
Is he ready to play? I mean, is he physically ready? Is that actually an option? I mean, you don't have Dan Mullen, Chris Mullen on your team anymore, right? So he's Nick Mullen. Chris played basketball. Dan, I don't know where I got that from, but
I do think that he is ready. I mean, he's been rehabbing all offseason and, has been practicing by himself. Now he's practicing with the team. Game speed, maybe there might be a little lapse there just because he hasn't had the reps except for since the season started. No preseason action or anything like that. Then again, starters don't really play in the preseason either. So I just don't think that you see him. The whole there's fans out there that are saying, oh, we need Jimmy G back and we need to fire Shanahan after one loss to the Bears in a monsoon. I think it's a little early to be saying stuff like that.
But it was the Bears.
I understand, but you can't gauge the guy's performance on a game that's under 3 feet of water.
The currently undefeated Bears. But let me ask you this: if Jimmy G is actually, for the most part, rehab from the injury and stuff like that, does that make him a solid number 2?
Solid number 2.
Here we go.
So we've covered the Niners. What I think there's another game in your household that's actually not your household, but let's say family ties for you.
Yeah. So the midgets of Arizona. The Cardinals of Arizona with Kyler Murray are going to go travel to Vegas to take on the
Raiders. Anyway,
Yeah, they're going to go play them. I look for the Raiders to probably win. I don't think that Arizona is doing too hot right now. Hopkins still isn't playing, right? He's out 6 weeks.
suspended. Yep.
Yeah,
Picked him in fantasy like an idiot.
Yeah, Vegas, I think, is going to be a decent team this year. Probably sneak into the playoffs and then lose the first game again.
But they do have a solid wide receiver now that hasn't been arrested for DUI or
Yet.
I was gonna say, give it time. Give it time.
Yeah, so that game's going on, and then also you have the Falcons, that awesome franchise, traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams, where they'll probably get destroyed, and we'll have to hear the whole hype train of how the Rams are amazing, and oh my god, yeah.
the Falcons' offensive plan fits well against the Rams' defense. You've got a mobile quarterback going against an interior rush defense. I mean, you flush Mariota out of the pocket, that's when he's the best. You've got a solid tight end in Kyle Pitts. You have the utility knife in Cordero Patterson. I mean, Drake London had a great game last week against the Saints. The Falcons should have won that game, but in particular, in Falcon fashion, they're up 16 points and lose in the fourth.
I'm just sick of the whole, oh my gosh, the Rams are going to repeat, because there's no chance in hell that they're going to.
It's so hard to repeat in the NFL.
They're not going to repeat. No way.
What'd you say?
They're not going to repeat.
You just did.
Between you
Oh,
and
I
Andy.
got the bad jokes today.
Here's that mute button.
So I guess it only leaves us time for one more thing. I mean,
No. We got to go with something else.
it's finally time.
No, that's the show after this. We don't.
Everyone's been waiting.
Well, wait a minute.
All right, Jerry, you've already touched on the Falcons game, so I'm not going to go too much into that. I do think the Falcons do have a fighter's chance at winning this game as long as they can get Mariota out of the pocket and work the ball down the field. I'd love to see them run a lot of read option. I think that would really hold the Rams' defensive line at bay somewhat. There's another team playing. I got the Carolina Panthers and the New York Giants. Does anyone really want to talk about this game? Baker Mayfield's going against the depleted Giants secondary. I think Baker really goes off today. The Panthers are only missing Brandon Smith, their linebacker, who's doubtful but still has a chance to play. Shi Smith is questionable, but he's a wide receiver for the Panthers who really don't. Yeah. And then the Giants are without almost their entire secondary. Both corners, the Nick McLeod is out. Aaron Robinson is questionable or is out. Pinnock, their safety, is out. Both their outside linebackers are doubtful, and Kadarius Toney is questionable to play as a wide receiver. However, I don't see the Giants having much offensive success against the Panthers. I got the Panthers winning this one fairly easily. And then it comes to the game that –
All right, you heard it there, Panther fans. He's on board. All right, moving on. So we've got
I really
coming up here.
I really am nervous about this Saints game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs come in with Chris Godwin out. Julio Jones is a game-time decision.
I have a question.
Donovan Smith is doubtful. I don't even think he suits up today. You got Josh Wells going against Cameron Jordan coming off the edge. A non-mobile Tom Brady. Climbs the pocket well, but really doesn't move around too well.
Brady allowed to travel that far?
It's just going to be rough. The only way the Bucs win this game is Leonard Fournette, 15 to 20 touches, got to hit around 100 yards, and that defense creating turnovers.
You seen that guy's thighs?
I'm not touching this game in my pick six, not only because I never pick the Bucs or not pick the Bucs. I just don't have a good feeling about this game. I think it can come to a last-minute field goal. Don't know which team it's going to be, but I don't have a great feeling. So, having said that, that's all I'm going to talk about the Bucs. That's it.
It's only because you have an hour show after this.
Yeah, I do. Right
Bucs.
after this show, we have the Tides of War podcast today. I have AC Brown on, hopefully a couple other guests, so it should be a good time.
Wow, you got that silly little, radio voice. It'll be a good time. How on earth do you talk about a team that's that bad for an hour? Literally.
I don't know. You just did it today.
Going off about the Bears.
Undefeated.
And the clock is still going. Here we go.
Winston.
What's
49er beaten.
What's funny is you act like no one else.
Yeah, it's true. There ought not be. In fact, we're going to go ahead and finish up with the Bears for the last 25, 30 minutes, shall we? So, now, the Bears not only have the most legendary team in the history of NFL, the 1985 Bears, I will grant you, is a little bit...
Yeah.
Most NFL Hall of Famers?
Yeah, the oldest team in the NFL.
Why don't you tell them about how great your stadium is?
How great what?
Your stadium.
Second to none. Except for maybe the one that may be in the western suburbs. But, other than that, second to none.
So, we ready for pick six? You guys want to get into this, or you got something else you want to cover? I don't want to talk Bears anymore.
Go again. You should be in Congress and just go filibuster.
I'm just saying, the Bears running backs, they get...
Let's go pick six.
I'm gonna request that we change that to Navarro Bowman's pick six.
Was it in the Super Bowl?
No, but
Did they win the Super Bowl?
It was an NFC team instead of.
Did they win the Super Bowl?
The NFC Roundtable.
Yeah, but we did this so that no one complained that their team wasn't getting any love.
Yeah, but this is like your second team, so we know. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. That's the other thing, too. That was like a 40-minute freaking... There's no time to do the pick six now. This was like a 40-minute intro.
Let's talk about the Bears.
who wants to go
My
first?
sausage.
So the offensive line for the Bears...
Son.
That's there, Jim.
So who wants to go first?
The Bears should go first.
All right, go first, Andy. Give us your pick six.
I will have to say I think the Vikings are going to end up pulling it out versus the old Idols there. Simply because, the Kirk Cousins, he looked pretty good against that other team. In fact, giving them the old shellacking. But I think the Vikings are going to end up. So here's where it gets kind of odd. I wasn't sure about this when I had to flip a coin. Still wasn't sure about it. So I took a nap and, got up, had a cup of coffee. And then I just came up with the idea of, we're going to go with the Cards over the Raiders.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that is going to be – it's interesting. But that's what the gods have said. That's what the heads landing quarter said. So we'll see that. We'll see how that goes.
I'm not going to argue because obviously you were talking with NOLA before last week. My God.
Well, he was the one building the ark?
Yeah, we didn't bring one, apparently.
Gotcha. So anyway, we got Detroit over the Commanders.
Oof.
Man, that's another bold one.
Either you're going to go big this week or you're going to be with Brian.
Might as well. Simply because you got Detroit, who is an up-and-coming team. I will grant you they are going into Washington. I just see them actually pulling that one out. I really do.
I thought the Lions were at home this week.
Yeah, I thought they were.
Yeah. Whatever. It doesn't matter. So,
Do they have a home stadium?
I've been kind of. I'm going to say the Bucs over the Saints.
Damn you.
Ooh,
I'm going to say the Bucs over the Saints.
That's another iffy pick, and I'm a Bucs fan.
AOD.
Only because you do have a few players that are out, but for some reason in the past, you had the that quarterback guy. He has a little bit of experience. He's always been able to find a way, and I don't necessarily think they're going to go 0-2 or whatever the case might be.
1-1.
I do believe the Cowboys are going to
No.
lose to the Bengals.
Okay, thank God. I thought for sure you were going to.
Typing up the 0-6 here. Huh?
I do
totally
believe
thought-
that the old Cincinnati Bengals, the Kitty Cats, are going to end up pulling that one out against the boys. Unfortunately, when you get rid of Dak, you get rid of basically their offense.
So is Dallas season over? I mean, are we there yet?
No. Wait till next week.
Dak's not back till week 6.
I thought they were eliminated. We need to get a graphic that just shows the Cowboys have been eliminated from the playoffs.
Jump on Facebook. There's at least 30.
As
we make
long
like a
as it's-
rip off of the Tecmo Bowl one where like it shows them going to the playoffs, but it'll just be like them all defeated have been eliminated from the playoffs.
as long as it's a picture of Dak going like this.
It could be JPP going like that.
It would be. Take my strong hand.
Sponsored by Crazy Kaplan's Fireworks.
Is that 6?
Of Walla Walla, Washington. And then, of course, I have the Packers being absolutely and utterly destroyed by the Chicago Bears.
Right on.
They're down, Chicago Bears. Marching on your way to victory. Step by
Jer,
step.
you good? You ready?
Yeah. So I'm going to follow suit with what I said should be a rule this year, where you have to pick your own team, regardless. I mean, you should
Yeah, I don't do that.
bandwagon, but there's some people on here that aren't confident enough in their own team to take a pick. So I'm going to go Niners over the Eagles. As we
You're
talked about.
playing Geno Smith.
Okay.
Like that's a big deal.
You're playing Jameis Winston.
Come on.
Like that's a big deal. He's going to throw 3 interceptions and a touchdown for your team.
Anyway, keep going.
I'm going to take the Rams over the Falcons, Broncos over the Texans, Colts over the Jags, Packers over the Bears, wah, wah, and Bengals over
Sour
the
grapes,
Cowboys.
that's all.
Right on.
So I'm going to go 6-0 this week and take over sole leadership and never give it back.
All right. Brian, you want to go or you want me to go?
Defending
I'll go.
champion.
I'll let you go last.
I'm just going to keep talking like Andy did about the Bears. And
Did I mention about the Bears?
The Bears have this Italian beef sandwich. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do the Rams over the Falcons. I think that's kind of blatantly obvious. I think the Rams will blow them out. Bengals over Cowboys. No Dak. No problem for the Bengals. Bills over Titans. Lots of tables being broken there. Broncos over Texans. The tears will be wiped away from Russell Wilson's face, and he'll actually have a victory. Niners over Seahawks. The Niners will be dried up and ready to go. And I'm going to do the Browns over the Jets.
Wow. I that's a game I would have picked if I hadn't seen it. So I don't disagree with many of your picks, so we'll just go to mine unless someone has something to. What's up, Jackson? Go against.
Did you see that sausage sandwich, by the way, Andy?
So here we go.
Do I look like I'm in San Francisco?
I of course have the Bengals over the boys, the Niners over the Seahawks. I have the Panthers pounding the Giants. The Raiders.
Really just got out of hand today.
The Raiders over the Cardinals. The Pack over the Bears. Vikings over the Eagles. And the Steelers over the Patriots.
Packers over the Bears, huh?
Did I say that?
That is so incredibly wrong.
I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say I have Green Bay over Chicago. Should be a good week of football.
Just like your hair, I'm out of here.
Wow. You say one thing about his team and he has to go all personal. Please don't
This doesn't happen overnight.
Don't ever do that again.
It's a lot of years. Been a Bucs fan for a long time. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So you guys got anything else to add? Other than Jay or Andy?
Yes.
And absolute crickets. On that note, I will be on after this show with the Tides of War podcast brought to you by the Crüe Roundtable as well as Crüe Life. So please join us. It'll start here in about 10, 15 minutes.
Andy, what time is your show?
Actually, it starts 1:30. Kiss my.
Oh, man.
All right. If there's nothing else, I will see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Did I mention about the Chicago Bears and their?
Go Niners. The Cowboys have been eliminated from the playoffs.